I'm going to walk you through how to make the winter compote using Florist netting. This is our focus today for the arrangement, is how to use a reusable product for our mechanics today instead of floral foam as an alternative. We've got a cereal bowl as our vessel today. We're trying to go for a compote base look, but compotes can cost anywhere from $5 to $20 plus. So I found us a pretty cheap alternative on Amazon. We're using some nice cereal bowls. And then Florist wire is going to be what normally would be either floral foam or a tape grid. It's another type of mechanic that you can use to create shapes. And the benefit to this is that it's completely 100% reusable and also recyclable. Tape is not really reusable. If you're really good to it, you might be able to get one more use out of it, but it's a real big pain in the butt to get off of an arrangement, store, and then place back on. So I don't recommend it. And we all know that foam is not reusable. So using Florist netting is the skill today. With that, we would like to do some mallets. I'm gonna let you play with this one. We haven't really done asymmetrical shapes much this semester, and I think this one really lends itself to an asymmetrical shape if you'd like to do that. However, if symmetry is your jam, then a nice round domed arrangement would be perfect for this as well. The only other thing we're gonna work on today is really playing with texture. I have several elements of texture for you, so I want you to kind of think outside the box and play with some fun elements rather than just color to create your piece. So our very first thing is we're gonna put some water in this dish. We're then going to cut and form this netting into a shape that will be usable in here. We'll tape it in and then we'll start designing. When working with Florist netting, what you want to do is cut, for this particular shape, we're gonna count 6 rows and cut down that gives us a big enough piece. And if you ever wanted to make this again, no, you don't need to go buy Florist wire. You can literally go to Dollar Tree or a farm store and buy chicken wire, and it works exactly the same. You're gonna take your piece of Florist wire, and I like to roll it first, and then fold the ends in on each other to kind of create an egg shape. And then I'll take this egg shape and just shove it into the vase and kind of work with it like Play-Doh to make it mold to the shape of the vase. You want these holes to kind of fold in on each other so you've got several to go through, not just a flat one-sided grid. It'll really help you have spots for stems. So take that, shove it into your bowl, make sure all of your edges have access, that you're not too skinny. So our setup is complete. We have water in our vase. We have the wire formed in there for us as our grid. We've taped it down so that way it doesn't move on us too much, doesn't try to pop out. We're ready to start designing. I'm giving you 2 different greens to play with today. Again, remember we're working on texture. So we have some seeded eucalyptus, which is kind of a droopy green, but it has these seed pods, which are really cool for some textural elements. Some of them are even kind of pretty like burgundy red, so they have an extra color. And then this is Grevillea for a green. It's very similar to kind of the look of the leatherleaf fern, but a very different texture. To me, it almost looks fake, but a very cool lime green. It's kind of softer. It is our stiff. What we're gonna do with our greens is we're gonna use half now and half later. So what I want you to do is cut pieces. This is a pretty small vase, and our goal is to go around the edges first to collar, and then we'll use the other half as a filler. So you don't need to cut pieces too large. We're really looking for pieces that are about this big, maybe a little bit more, but you definitely don't need anything this large. That'd be way too big for this arrangement. So try to kind of cut pieces that are about 3 inches or so. and just kind of make your pile. We'll use half now to collar, and we'll use half later to fill. Alright, so we've collared our vase. Our next step is to work with our focal flowers. You're gonna get 2 roses today, as well as 2 disc buds. Remember with the disc buds to pull the nets off the flower upwards direction. Give them a moment to rest and really open up. And then the roses have been dethorned, but they have not been like quality checked. The guard petals haven't been removed, so you're gonna want to remove at least the outermost petals. Check for bruising, anything that has a tear. That kind of happens in shipment sometimes. And if you want them more open, you can put them upside down and rub on them a few, and they will open up a little bit more for you. When you're ready, because we have 2 and 2, we're gonna place these in an X pattern opposite each other. So roses across from each other, disc buds across from each other. We are trying to create some angle, and if you're gonna go for an asymmetrical look like I am, you're gonna want them to be slightly uneven, so some a little bit taller than the others. Next, we're gonna work with our secondary flowers, which are mini carnations. You get 2 to 3 stems of them, and because there's multiple blooms on a stem and we're gonna spread them out in this arrangement, what I want you to do first, just like we processed our greens, we'll process these. So cut all of them off of the main stem as much as possible without going shorter than that 2-3 inch mark like we did the greenery. It's gonna be nice to have some pieces that are longer, some pieces that are shorter. Our goal with these is to place them throughout the arrangement, definitely in between the main flowers to separate them so that there is a different size happening and different color, but also throughout the entire arrangement to act as our main filler flower. So our shape is coming together. We're filling in. Our goal now really is to complete the shape by filling in, and we're trying to camouflage the Florist netting just like we'd be camouflaging the foam, as well as emphasizing the shape we've created. So I'm going for asymmetry here, a little bit of a U, if you will. We have filler. I'm working with limonium. You get to choose limonium or wax flower for your arrangement. So you have a stem of filler to cut up into pieces and use throughout. And then you also have your last half of greens to be using. Remember to place them in a way that is balanced throughout the arrangement and that everything is showcased. So if you're gonna go back to your seeded eucalyptus, don't let these pods get covered up or sunken into the arrangement. Make sure that those stand out. So my suggestion here is definitely to be working with the Lazy Susan, since it is a round arrangement. We wanna make sure we're getting all of the sides covered, that you're really rotating through. If you've been seated while working, now is the time to stand and really look at it from the top view, because you sometimes will see from the edge everything's fine, but when you look down you can see directly into it. If you've been standing, do the opposite, take a seat. Because of the droopy collar, we shouldn't really see any of our edges of tape, but if you do, you want to take a moment. Sometimes stuff shifts, especially in those beginning pieces with the netting, while you're trying to figure out how to put it into the grid. If stuff moves on you, it's okay. The cool thing with this is, unlike foam, we can take stuff out and put it back in and nobody will ever know. It's not damaged in any way. So adjust stuff as needed, wiggle them through. The more that stuff gets interconnected, not only through the netting, but into each other, those stems crisscrossing, the easier it will be to keep that shape, but it also will look better. So keep working with angles rather than straight down. Here's my finished compote. I've got an asymmetrical balanced shape. I have all sides rounded out. My tape is hidden. My mechanics of the Florist wire is hidden. My color and textures are balanced. The shape is full. I'll give you a zoom in just a second. I think it's really, really helpful to definitely split the greens. Use half in the beginning, half at the end. If you go too heavy in the beginning, you won't have enough to fill in your shape. And then doing both the standing and seating and working off the Lazy Susan will really help you get all sides. I think this is a really cool arrangement. We use pretty cheap material, you guys, and this ends up looking like a pretty expensive arrangement you'd see at a floral shop. So good job, I hope you like this one.